I'm Rhodora Meliton-Vanderpool, and this is the Class Act podcast. My first guest ever is Director X. And X, I invited you here because I feel like the impact that you've had in Toronto, Canada, as well as beyond internationally, has been so impactful in music and film. And I really feel like, this journey is really about how it's all coming together in a full circle. So if you could, please ring the bell for Classes in Session for the Class podcast.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
There you go. So today's topic is who inspires you and the legacy behind the lens. I first came across the work that you had done in the early 2000s. So working with Aaliyah, Jay-Z, Justin Bieber, Drake, all of these artists, and saw what you were able to kind of come together with their creativity, but giving them their own creativity to grow as artists. And back then, people were just like, videos were about telling a story. And you really mastered telling a story and giving that to the audience. So Rita Pearson says every child deserves a champion. And I wanted to find out who has championed you from the get-go, from the jump.
From the get-go? Can't really think of anybody in that way. Along the line, you have a teacher here or there that's like, hey, you're good at this. You're talented, it's someone that, but there's no, I'm an old man. There's no one championing me the whole way. But along the lines, you get someone that believes in you. You get a friend, you get a teacher, you get someone along the way, people pop up and remind you that you got it. When it really mattered, one of my big champions was Hype Williams.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to New York and was an intern for him and started drawing his storyboards, and someone that saw it. And I think we all, when we hear, a champion, especially young people that are looking for someone to help, someone to mentor, someone to champion them, they may begin to think of it like, well, if they're a champion, there's someone who's always there supporting me all the time. Wherever I go, then sometimes your champion is just someone that says, yeah, you can sit over there and, to let you be around.
Right.
Sometimes that's your champion. Sometimes it's just a pat on the back. It's like, hey, yeah, that's good.
Would you say then that you've been your own champion?
To a degree, yeah. I'm thinking we all got to believe in ourselves, trying to get a realistic view of where you fall on the playing field. There was a time when I moved to New York where I think I thought too little of myself, and I missed a bunch of opportunities. I thought I wasn't ready, thought it was out of my range. And then you can also see when people think too much of themselves.
Right.
They think I have a skill level that they don't really have. So being realistic about where you land in all this is important.
So a couple of years back, you were at the Legacy Awards, and I was there with you. I actually didn't have a voice that day. And I got to hear a bunch of stories that you had to tell. And some of those stories talked about how you were just dropping your next project, where you were the director of Robin Hood.
Yep.
And so you had just finished up Superfly. Mm-hmm. And that was a big success. And then you were walking into a new space on TV, and, global TV was embracing that at the time. And amazingly, it really came across as something that was great for the culture and for the people. So just wanted you to talk about a little bit about that.
I mean, I think we should be real. Superfly was not a great success. Superfly was... I'm happy with the movie. I think we did a great retelling of the original Superfly, but the box office wasn't there. And then Robin Hood ran right around the time that the nerd community was really getting angry that all their characters were getting race swapped or gender swapped. Mm-hmm. We came along with Robin Hood and we race swapped it and gender swapped it, and they lost their minds. Right. And for me, as a nerd, a few years ago, no one would have cared. Robin Hood, a girl, she's black. Hey, whatever, cool. But right now, as you see, there is a real backlash. The pendulum swings, and it's swung all the way that just timing. And then, look, people think that the entertainment industry is run by the great cabal, the Illuminati that has regular meetings and tells everybody what to do. I just made my show. Right? We went through a process where we ended up to a black woman, Robin Hood. The original idea that I had was a bunch of soldiers come home from war, and they're going to be, they become Robin Hood and his merry men. And then one of the producers brought in another writer who pitched to make it a black woman, and they make music. And I started thinking like an exec. I said, okay, I'll go for it. And it naturally formed its way into being this Black woman Robin Hood. But, I mean, sometimes the universe just collides like that. And it was right at the time when the nerds were finally saying enough of this shit. And they rating bombed the show down to like 1 on IMDb. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I had the experience of going in with them and having that battle with them and seeing what that would be like. At the same time, I said, maybe I'll do it like 50. Right? Getting into a beef with 50 can raise the stakes on whatever it is. So I said, okay, what if I did that with these nerds? But the thing is, the nerds are over there. We're not having that fight in front of the Robin Hood audience. We were having that fight in front of the nerd audience. They're never going to come see the show. Right? And that was the calculation that was missed. 50's having his hip hop fight in the hip hop audience. So you getting beef with 50 could mean something to you. Right? And I missed that key little thing. But as far as me as an artist, there's great experience learning about show running a show, putting a show together, working with just in a different level. As a TV director, you come in and you'll shoot, they call it a block. So you normally do 2 episodes. Maybe you do an episode or 2 episodes, you work with everybody, then you're out. But being a showrunner, being there for the whole season, working with the other directors, seeing how things just is seeing the game from a whole other side, which is great. And I still stand by the show. For what it was as a young adult show, it's a solid young adult show.
I agree with you. My students loved it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they really took to it. I think,
That's amazing.
my female students, especially the girls in my classes and stuff, and the girls that I coach, they were like, Miss, this is a really good show. And they got to see,
How old are your girls?
So I coached grade 7s and 8s.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so it was right around their age group.
Otherwise, that's like 14.
Yes. But my daughter at the time...
7 and 8, that's 13, 14.
My daughter at the time started high school.
Okay.
And so that was like, again, her friends were like, this is so good to see somebody that looks like them on TV.
And that's exactly who it was for. That's exactly where it needed to be aimed. And like I said, I was having that argument over with the nerds, and they're not young high school, junior high kids, right? That's the place. And that's why I felt good about the show, about what we did, how we put it together. The battle, it got really ugly on the racism side. Like, it was odd. It was really crazy. Right. So you have a big mix of these kids, but I went to war with them on it. And that also led to one of the biggest issues I feel now is why does global television take global television in medium age is like 50.
Right.
They took a show that's meant for kids.
Yeah.
It should have been a streaming show.
Yeah.
And it did well on their streaming platform. That's where your kids watched it.
Yeah, that's where they picked it up.
Yeah, that's what, but global television wants people to watch global television. So the streaming is the secondary, and until the model somehow switches where the streaming is the primary and the television is the secondary, it just won't work, right? And that was the issue there.
Sitting in the director's chair, thinking back to when you were a kid, what kind of student were you?
I mean, I was into doing my own thing. What I tell kids now that they're in school is just do your homework. One of my aunts told me that, like, just do your homework, because I wasn't interested, so I wouldn't I was just doing my own thing, right? I'm an artist. It just, that system didn't work for me. But then when I needed to at least graduate high school, they're like, just do your homework. You go do your homework, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? So I started doing that. I went to one of my final high schools. I just started organizing everyone else to do all our homework together. So that was the kind of student I was, right? Like, I had a teacher who would, he's like this cool teacher. Now that I see much more perspective, right? But he's like this single handsome guy, but somehow he's teaching high school. So he didn't want to be there. And he'd say, hey, everybody read pages 1 through blah, blah, and leave the room. Then I'd organize the class. Everyone's reading quietly. I go, hey, let's read it together. Let's read it out loud. Read it. We're done. Like, I was like that kind of, right? Oh, you guys do your homework, have it done. Oh, hey, let's get together. Yeah, you guys do pay. You do that. You do come back. Right? So, I started getting to that point of, organizing the game.
So where did the interest of capturing moments come from?
Grade school. When I was in grade school, I thought I was going to draw comic books. I was convinced I was going to be a comic book artist. So by the time I got to high school, I was drawing comics freehand, but like on lined paper. But like, junior high, I drew comics. I would copy the comics I liked and draw them. Get into high school, I'm drawing comics freehand. I don't need references anymore. I'm like, this is definitely what I'm going to do. And then someone handed me a party flyer
Okay.
It was a hand-drawn party flyer. That's when party flower, hand-drawn party flower. And I'm like, oh, I could do this. So I started drawing party flowers. Started hustling, trying to get people. I want to draw your flyer. So for a little while, I was drawing party flowers around town, right? And that led me into, having to do that, learning how to use computers, scan things in. I just was trying to get better and better, drawing these party flowers. And I'm going to be a graphic designer. So I left. Didn't want to be comic books. I'm going to be a graphic designer. I'm going to do logos. So, when I'm doing logos, I'm doing party flyers. I'm, this artist. At the same time, I started doing poetry. A friend of mine, my friends had a rap group, and I helped them write a rhyme. One of their political. This is back when hip hop. Everyone had a party song, a political song. Like before everyone became criminals,
Right.
Everyone had this. Like, you know what I mean? Like even NWA had like a positive black song. Like even if you were a gangster, you had to do one song about, hey, So I helped them. Being a mixed race, light skinned guy, I was always the blackest dude in the room. And I'm not sure if you all understand that, but some of y'all do. So I helped them write their Black Power song. One of our friends that hung out with the group, she wrote poetry. We went to a poetry reading. At the end, they said, hey, if anyone wants to read something on the open mic, come up. I read the rhyme I wrote for the Black Power song.
Oh.
They invited me back. So now I'm going to be a graphic designer, but I'm also reading poetry around town. And which is what I tell kids, especially young people, because I'm in my teenage years, do it because you're interested in it. Nowadays, everything's a little too, hustle culture has gotten so in your face that if you're not part of the plan, don't do anything unless it's a thing. If you want to do it, do it. If you're interested in it, do it. Especially when you're a teenager. You like poetry, go write poetry. You like to paint, go paint. You like to dance, go dance. Not that these things are going to become your career. Everything you do doesn't have to be, look at me. I thought I was going to do comic books. Then I thought I was going to be a graphic designer. Then I didn't think I was ever going to be a professional poet, but I did it. It was fun. And down the line, all these things fed into where I ended up. I'm doing poetry. I'm doing graphic design. And then Much Music has a show, Rap City, the original Rap City before MTV's Rap City. Okay. Rap City has a poetry show. They have a poetry episode. And they invite a bunch of local poets to come read. I read. And they invite me because I'm a local poet around town. I go read at the poetry show. While I'm at the poetry show, I read at the Rap City. While I'm there, the producer says, I say to the producer, because Big C, big up Big C, foundational industry, music industry guy. Big C was once the unit assistant. He was the intern at Much Music. Everyone thought Big C was rich because he worked at Much Music. But we didn't understand how TV worked. But so he had left, he went to BMG. So I knew there's an open spot. So I said to Michelle Geister, these are like foundational names of hip hop in this city. So I said to Michelle Geister, what's up with Big C's position? She says, he's gone. I go, can I do it? So I worked my way into Much Music. So while I was at Much Music in a school program, a co-op program, I'm in Much Music, I'm drawing. They asked me to draw stuff for the show. Think I'm going to be a graphic designer. But then looking at the music videos and the cameras and the lights, I begin to say, hey, maybe directing, maybe cameras, lights. This is artistic. Maybe I'll do this. And that's what got me interested in that.
So seeing now your interest in the film industry, how important was Hype Williams in your journey?
Major. I mean, there's a few levels of the relationship with Hype. There's when I got in there, there's the hustle to get in, right? Because that's the next part of the story, right? Now I'm interested in directing. And right around that time, hip hop videos suddenly become art. There's like these videos, and just like Wu-Tang Clan, Can It Be So Simple? There's a Gangstar video that Hype did, Flavor in Your remix, Naughty by Nature, right? These videos are beautiful. And we're like, what's going on? It felt authentic. And we find out there's a guy named Hype Williams. There's this director, Hype Williams, who's making these videos. He's making this incredible art. So I managed to get an internship, sending out a package to all the, went to Vibe magazine, got the address and the name and sent it to him. Like I had to do real detective work just to find my way, because there's an article about him in Vibe magazine. So I went to the person who wrote that article, right? Mimi Valdez, who's still, she manages Pharrell Williams, right? Still laugh about how I got to this place through that. Track her down, send her a thing, get the address for the place. This is back when you had to send mail.
Right.
It wasn't emails. Which might have been actually takes a little more effort to send mail, you know what I mean? But either way,
yeah,
get the thing, get the Hype's company. They're hard to get a hold of. They're hard to talk to anybody. I end up taking a trip with Cardinal on a summer job down to New York, go to the office, get them to look at my stuff. Because while I was on Much Music, right, when I decided I wanted to make music videos at Much Music, I shot for my final school project. I did a poetry video. See how it all comes together?
Wow.
So I do a poetry video, a spoken word video but I shoot the narrative on a handy cam. I asked one of the cameramen, Basil Young, to shoot the performance, so it was a little better quality. I talked to one of the editors to help me do that. I went into Much Music every night for about 2 weeks and by hand wrote out the time codes for the edit. So when I came in for that 1 or 2 nights with the dude, I'm like, here's the list.
You're right.
Came in prepared, right? Put this video together. But now, since this is back when it was impossible to do professional level editing at home was impossible. Right? In order to make your lips move to a track in sync was impossible with consumer level electronics. It is not like now where I can do it on my phone. I can't stress this enough. Impossible. So now I have this spoken word poetry video. Lips are moving in sync. Things are in slow motion. There's dissolves and dips to black. There's all this high level stuff, even though it's on video. And the beauty of it is, since it was spoken word, I didn't need, music would always turn people into haters, but there's no music. I'm just saying the words. So they're good. So this video now that I had was enough to make people say, who's this kid? All the art that I drew, who's this kid? I'd done t-shirts for one of my designs. Who's this kid? You know what I mean?
Their eye.
Caught their eye. And I said to them, I know I'm good enough to work for free.
Right.
And that got me in the office. And then there's levels of this. I mean, getting from going to the office, when I came out, I went a little earlier. There's this story just goes where I get in there, and this is before ever meeting Hype. So now I meet Hype. Hype doesn't immediately say, hey, kid, you got what it takes. Come over here. You're going to be my protege. He's like, he was even a little standoffish about it, right? Because there was this kid can draw. Everyone's selling him. Oh, you got to see the new intern. Right? And slowly, step by step, right? I'm in the office. I go and take the tape library system from Much Music. This is before computers. So Much Music had, like old school library. I'm sure you're going to show this to your students. So I don't know if you've seen this in a movie, but you used to go to a big thing filled with cards. You say A through B, and you pull it out, and you'd find the name of the thing, and on the card, it would say the thing. You have to go find the book,
Yeah.
Much Music had something like that for all their tapes.
Okay.
Right? I took that system and brought it to Hype. Big Dog Films is the name of his company. Because it used to be like, go get the Wu-Tang video. And there's like literally a box in the corner just filled with tapes, and you'd have to go through and look for the Wu-Tang. So one day they came to work, and there's like a bookshelf, and there's these tapes, and there's stickers with numbers on it and the code, and then there's a little thing, and you go, okay, this is how you do it. You look for Wu-Tang, and it says CLE means a 3/4 tape, Kiki means a 1/2 inch, this means a digibeta. Who's this kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just always stuff like that, and I'd stay there all day. I mean, I just stay at the office all night because my aunt and uncle, if they were good enough to put me up, but they had me like in this tiny little room, which is what I tell people, make your guest room a little uncomfortable. They had the comfortable guest room and then the uncomfortable guest room. If I had the comfortable guest room, I would have been laid up in a queen size bed watching TV. They put me in the one with like the prison bed with nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You get one of those. So I'm in that room. I don't want to stay there. There's no TV. The only TV, it was just the right environment for me to always be at work. And then they come in one day and I rearranged the office furniture. This is better because the door comes in and people were walking by there. So now he comes in and people come, they're going to talk to him. And I put the chairs there. Who's this kid? Right. And that slowly, bit by bit, is what made people say, who's this kid? It kept happening, right? To making a better relationship with Hype. And you get there. Again, I want to, because again, since you're a teacher and I'm assuming that there'll be young people seeing this, to temper of course, everyone wants to have the experience when they walk in and go, I could feel it. You just got that aura. You're a star. That'd be great. And some people get that. But a lot of us don't. A lot of us are kind of in the room, and you're in the room, but you're in the room.
You're in the room.
You're in the room. Not everything needs to be, and they get angry again, but I remember all this stuff. Right? So I know this is, no one noticed this. I remember being frustrated like that at Big Dog when I was running packages in the rain and, I want to be, these are natural feelings, right? But I'm also telling y'all, be patient, focus on what you can bring to the, because what's the big picture, right? Right? I hustled my way in. In fact, it was the people, I sent my package out to like maybe 2 or 3 people. I sent it out to a friend of mine who worked with a director. They didn't show it.
Right.
The people you know sometimes just think, it's sometimes when people know you as this, it's hard for them to see you as that.
That's something else.
All the people I knew in Toronto in the hip hop scene when I started directing, I'm working with Hype Williams. You feel me?
Crazy.
I came back to Toronto. I'm like, hey guys, I'm directing now. I work with Hype Williams. They're like, you draw and do poetry. What do you mean you direct now?
Right.
You would think I do art and I'm doing art with the biggest artist and you guys making videos and maybe this makes sense for you, this, right? Not to them. You draw and you do poetry. Now you direct. They just, no one gave love.
So they were putting you in a box.
It's hard. I know you're going to feel the frustration. I want to do this thing, but none of my friends believe. None of it seems like people are supposed to support me. You're not supporting me.
It almost sounds like, so we have a bamboo tree here, back here, but the analogy of the bamboo tree where 1 to 5 years, it's just a seed and it doesn't really show anything, but it's growing the roots.
Yeah.
So your time in Much Music, your time, coming back and forth from New York, working with Hype, that's all like the roots and the foundation. And then all of a sudden, it sprouts out to like a 90-foot tree where, it's just like magic. I think all of that stuff that you were doing, that's called directing.
Yeah.
You're, rearranging furniture, like looking for the efficiencies in the project. Like that's basically what you do now. So
that mentorship went from who's this kid to a real friendship to really, him taking me to LA while he's working on a job and, just being there, being in the room as he's doing things. Sometimes that's it. It wasn't a whole bunch of like, hey, X, come over here. See that thing I'm doing? Let me teach you how. No, it's just you're in the room and you get to watch, you get to listen, you get to just be part of it. Shut up and just be part of it, right? That was what opened it up. And it developed and it grew and it developed and it grew, right? But it's whichever way it comes to you, you got to deal with it. Whichever way you go, if you're in the room, you're in the room. That's what I want to keep coming back to for young folks. I know you have the dream, we all do, that the most important person in the room is going to see you're the most important thing to ever happen to the business. And they're good. If it happens, great. But if it doesn't, it's okay. It's okay.
So X, your TED Talks a few years ago where you focused on Operation Prefrontal Cortex, that was really powerful and inspiring. And our school family in Rexdale, we decided to do Meditation Mondays. So there's a group of teachers that lead that. So shout out to the teachers that actually put that together.
Shout out to teachers.
Yeah.
Meditation Mondays.
They're my former teaching partners, but they take on Meditation Mondays, Wellness Wednesdays.
Okay.
And it's really just downtime for the kids to really reflect.
How are they responding to it?
They love it. They love it. They need it. It's not even like they love it. They need it.
Have you seen any changes?
Absolutely. Better retention in mathematics, especially.
Wow.
And even just the focus, right?
2 days.
Pardon?
2 days a week.
2 days a week. 2 days a week. You got to see it. You got to come.
Oh, definitely did. Got to set that up.
You got to come.
Definitely got to see that. Let's sort that out for another thing.
For sure.
That's absolutely amazing.
But you know what?
It's a TED Talk that inspired it.
It did. So a lot of us were inspired by a few things, right? We saw the need. And then a lot of us did watch, what you were speaking about.
It was a kind of build up. It was one to.
Right. It was everyone kind of came to the table and someone brought something. But 2 of our teachers took the lead on it and just ran with it. And
Incredible.
honestly, to be able to do anything in a school, you need administrative help, right? So the principals need to be on board, superintendents need to be on board. And I teach in a Catholic school, so meditation looks a little bit different, but at the same time, it's still meditation. It's still quiet time.
Meditation.
Yeah.
You ever heard the book How God Changes the Brain?
Yes.
If you know the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Check out the book. Yeah, that's amazing. I'd love to hear that.
How did that come about?
The same thing. A bunch of different interests all collide. I'm a nerd. I'm a science nerd. I remember coming across some article on Live Science that said the criminal brain is different than the normal brain, and they showed these 2 brains: the average person, and then the criminal, and just the way the brain was lit up. And I remember it said the prefrontal cortex is smaller than the average in the criminal brain. The prefrontal cortex is decision making. And the amygdala is larger, and the amygdala is emotional control. And the amygdala is actually where decisions happen. You make decisions with your emotions. You just kind of think them through, right? So the amygdala gets the information first,
right?
And then the prefrontal cortex. If it's a fight, flight, or freeze thing, the amygdala makes that decision, and it can turn off the prefrontal cortex. All right. So, and then I came across something later that abused children, there's some abused, unloved, one of these things. And eventually the science, when I tracked it down, it's children neglected or abused, which is essentially the same thing. Their brains develop differently. The neglected or abused children, their brains develop differently. Their prefrontal cortex is smaller than the average. Their amygdala is larger than the average. So that same criminal brain is very much like the abused, neglected brain, which is, it's a clear path how you get to, you know what I mean? An abused kid, a neglected kid ending up being a criminal kid. This is not surprising to anybody, but you have parts of the brain. And then I read another thing. It says, meditation changes the brain. Meditation makes your prefrontal cortex bigger and your amygdala smaller. That seems like that's the same parts of the brain. This all makes sense. I did a TED Talk. I got shot in my back. A bullet went through 2 people on my own New Year's party. Someone got shot in the chest. The bullet went through 2 people. So one, all the movies that you see where someone is like, just like the bad guy, he has a machine gun, he goes, ta, 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 and then the guy takes a person, he puts him in front and goes, fills him with bodies and he throws them away because he's fine. No. Bullets go through things. Bullets go through walls, they go through doors, bullets go through things and they go through people, right? So another issue and another reason why in every movie, that's why in Robin Hood, when people get shot in my movies or my TV shows, things happen. Bullets don't just go off and then nothing happened. In Robin Hood, a police officer shot his gun and Robin's mother got paralyzed. In Superfly, the bad guy shot his gun and a bystander got shot. People get hit. And we just had that happen in the city here recently, right? So it's an important thing that we need to remember that TV and movies are fake and that, flipping the table and hiding behind the table that's not going to protect you. Okay. So dance floor, someone shoots someone, boom, bullet goes through that person, the person behind him, and hits me in my back. Right. And I didn't even know I was hit. And what? Because I turned around, there was someone on the floor. As if I felt something hit me, but I thought I was grazed or something. I didn't take it too serious. And ended up that bullet was in me. They had to take when I went and talked to a cop, like, I think the bullet was in me. They were poking the bullet, took the bullet out. So I got invited to do a TED Talk and I had to decide between, what am I going to talk about? I had just done a TV show called Mr. Tachyon. And Mr. Tachyon did fringe science experiments like, talking to plants, will it make it grow? Which it didn't.
That was the box, right?
We did the box. We did a bunch of episodes on different fringe science things, right? So, if you talk to your rice, it will make it mold. If you say mean things, those things didn't work, right? So, but then there was a few things that were interesting, right? We did some they call it remote viewing,
right?
Where someone was sitting somewhere thinking about where's the person, like at a target, and they described it pretty on point. I'm like, that's interesting. So what if I did my TED Talk about the amazing discoveries of Mr. Tachyon? Or what if I did my TED Talk about what I now have learned about the brain and meditation and right? And I thought it through and I said, look, this type of audience is never going to believe that I can sense where you are or that, they're never, ever, 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 ever going to believe anything I have to say about the topic, which is legitimate. And even if they were open to it, there's one experiment. Science doesn't work on one experiment on a TV show. You need multiple experiments, repeatable, empirical evidence.
Measurable.
So, right. So to going down that road would be a bit of a waste of time. It would have been great for my little ego, but not, right? But maybe meditation, maybe that would be something. So I bring these things together because I don't even know if they're doing it now. I haven't come across anything that said, hey, look what happens to neglected and abused children. Look what happens to their brain. Hey, look at the brain of, right? Well, there's separate studies. And then look at the brain of people who meditate. So I said, hey, let's bring these all together and let's have a conversation. And then let's talk about the types of places, what have happened in places when you do it. And then here's a plan. And when I came off stage, everybody felt like everyone in the room was like, this is a great idea. How can we help? This is a great idea. How can we help? This is a great idea. So, ad agencies, like a big ad agency did our website for free, right? Everyone we went, people wanted to help. I got a friend involved. So my buddy, Dell, we wrote out the TED Talk, just the beginnings, ideas. In fact, this was something, before we did the TED Talk, it was something I presented to the mayor, right? John Tory at the time, like, hey, look at this. Maybe this could help.
Right.
So Dell and I worked on that together. So I took that and made that the TED Talk. And then the TED Talk, my friend Sarah got involved. She's a producer in the film industry as well, and we're Make It Happen kind of people. She got involved, became the producer. Dell and I were co-founders, and we just went in and just started doing this thing. We made a great documentary with Headspace called Quiet Minds, Silent Streets, which is a bit like what you're saying. A teacher brought meditation through a bunch of different factors. Meditation came into her. Meditation for the kids could help. And Malton was really affected by violence. And her class had really been rocked by the death of Jonathan Davies, a bystander in a shooting. A massive shooting, like a 140 round shot. And he's just waiting to get picked up by somebody and gets hit. And she said, hey, maybe meditation can help the kids. So she brought meditation, but one of the ways she helped sell it, because, people, meditation, whatever, was to my TED Talk. So then they started writing me. Hey, we're meditating and things are doing a lot better for us and all that. And we responded back because we want to make a documentary with you. So it's a nice 15-minute documentary on Quiet Minds, Silent Streets. Perfect amount of time for a class to watch it. But again, this is what the TED Talk was and where it led to. And what I think is the big message of people in the arts, as opposed to trying to put your message into your work. I believe you should take your work and then use that skill set to go make your message. The Robin Hood backlash was a backlash to people saying, we're going to change the world with the work. We're going to do Star Wars, and then we're going to tell you about racism. In the Star Wars, it's going to be about racism and Star Wars. That's not how you do it. You know what I mean? People are like, what is this? I came here to see laser beams, right? But if the person who makes the laser beam Star Wars says, okay, I have all these skills about storytelling and special effects and cameras and the way to make things look professional, just, when you look at something good, you go, oh, this is good.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Then they take that skill and go make something. The Quiet Minds, Silent Streets won awards everywhere. My TED Talk, I went back. There's half the things that are happening in my TED Talk are not on the screen right at the time. I took it to my friend who does special effects. I said, and I did an ADR because there's things I missed, points I didn't hit, message, all these things I could do. And we did them. We put it up. So now for the thing that's on the screen, looks like, oh, okay. Right? I used my knowledge of writing, my poetry that led to me studying and screenplays, all these things that led me to when I put together my TED Talk, it's structured around the way a screenplay is structured. The story structure is a screenplay story structure. So there's a reason why you don't know it, but you're kind of pulled in. And I didn't make it up. I just used the thing that exists, and I know that exists from my work. So I put this together in a different kind of structure, so it gets you like, I do that TED Talk speech. I was getting standing ovations everywhere I went. Feel me? So that learning your thing, following your passion, that thing you're interested in, learning that, doing that, honing that. And then when you feel you're at a point that you want to give back, it's not that you need to pull this into the work. You can take your work skills and take that over to the thing you want to do.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And then now you got, again, the TED Talk that leads to the documentary, that leads to these are important things. That's my philosophy on.
Sounds like a call to action though, X. Like it really is something where you need to now, take this to schools across Canada.
For me, what it is, because we've learned, like you said, the bureaucracy is very hard to beat. So we made our focus, as opposed to being a program that brings you the programming, give us your money. We're out here saying, hey, like what you said happened. Meditation will mean a lot for the students. Meditation will mean a lot for the students, will mean a lot for the teachers. All right? This is something that's very important. Well, the teachers hear it, and next thing you know, I'm saying, oh yeah, we're doing it at Rexdale. That is the deal. That's really where we've shifted our focus to spreading the gospel, spreading the word about what this does. And hopefully, the teachers and the principals and the people that care about the kids, or maybe the kids themselves, someone along the line says, hey, we'll do that.
It's actually student-led.
Oh, it's incredible.
Which is like probably the best thing that we've seen. Yeah. So when they come in, even the teachers, like myself, like I become a calmer person because I know it's about to start, right? And it's about to happen. Story by Director X on YouTube.
Yep.
Where you're sitting there and just reading your stories and the power of the pen. I really fell in love with that story where it's Storming Heart and she doesn't actually fall in love. I think two men fall in love with her. I think she's gravitating towards the other guy. You got to hear this story. Like, you telling the story is incredible.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like you should give a little setup. So how much, I want to know what you remember of the story.
What I remember?
Yeah, what do you remember?
So she ends up on an island.
Well, where did we start at?
You started off with, I think she was on a boat and she falls in love with the captain. I think she falls in love with the captain. But then the other guy actually likes her too. So then she falls into this like love triangle and they end up stranded on an island. and then they're fighting for her.
Exactly.
And the fighting for her piece was the most interesting part, because it's almost like when you have two people fighting for your love and you don't know who to love, and you see them both kind of like just, I feel like they're fighting for nothing, because you're not going to love either one or the other.
Okay.
That's how I
I love that, because that's really, you're kind of what the audience is for that story, right?
Yeah.
That it's made for, that one was written for women. I mean, on one level, there's the art of story where you're asking a question. You have a theme. Okay, so you're kind of the audience. Not even kind of, you are the audience for, it's a romantic thriller, right? Like, and for me, it was asking a question about human nature. Like when I was growing up, there were romantic thrillers like Indecent Proposal, right? Which was about a millionaire saying to a man, I'll give you $1 million to have sex with your wife. Well, what would you do, right? There was one called Basic Instinct, where this man cheats on his wife, but the other woman that he cheated with won't leave him alone, starts stalking them, right?
Right.
So it's like, what if we take these very basic questions and amplified it? So Storming a Heart starts with a question about older men and younger men, both going for, the girl's around 27, this guy's in his 40s, this guy is in his early 20s. So that dynamic, which women deal with when you're in your 20s, you're going to get older guys, you're going to get younger guys, you have the world's coming at you, right? And that's an interesting question. A guy who has his life together versus a guy who's filled with passion. This guy could be something, this guy did it. Who are you going to pick? And then I decided to up the ante, where they get stranded on an island and the guys decide they both want her and they don't want to share, and they fight for her. And then I asked that question about human nature, right? Like I just came back from a safari in Africa. Animals fight each other all the time. And one of the big fights that animals have is for a woman, right? Zebras will kill baby zebras so they get their chance. They'll come, imagine some guy kills your kid, so you'll have to have a kid with him, right? They fight each other. All these wild dynamics that happen in nature. So I began to ask that question. Like we have all these societal rules that prevent us from just beating someone up for their girlfriend. But what if those went away, right? Then what would happen? So that was, you know what I mean? So a good story is supposed to ask some kind of question about the world.
Right.
And then from there, it's just a conversation, because you're saying, oh, I think she liked that guy more than that guy. And I think that's the fun of you ask the question and you tell the story, and then people leave the story having conversations about it.
It's great. I love the platform that you have, and just, taking the pen and just creating more stories.
You should watch episode 4, Caramel Curves, or is that episode 5? You should watch the latest one.
The latest one?
It's another ladies focused one. You
okay,
enjoy that one.
For sure. So Drax, this gift is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Talking about the power of the pen, back to your journaling days and your doodling days of comic book stuff. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being my first guest.
There's more stuff in here.
There is. Thank you so much. Oh, there's actually, if you open it up, I don't want you to open it up, but I do want you to open it up.
Right. More mindful mornings.
Yes.
Okay. Very nice.
Little cards of mindfulness in there.
Okay. Of course.
Yeah.
All right. This is great. Yes. Thank you so much.
I'd love for you to ring the bell.
Yeah.
But talking about the bell, bells talk about beginnings and ends, right? But I feel like this whole thing doesn't really have an end. Your legacy is intact. Your legacy is something that you're building on. And I'm just really proud to know that, you've been doing this for the city, for the country, and beyond. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
So yeah, thanks for being on the Class Act.
Let's do it.
Follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or at theclassactpodcast.com.